Metro Housing says they're on track to demolish Dosker Manor on time. Staff made sure residents moved out of the public housing towers downtown by this February. Louisville Metro Housing Authority tells us they are still securing the finances to tear down the 3 high-rise buildings. 574 residents moved out of the towers where some units did have mold, structural problems, and infestations of mice and bugs. Crime was also an issue reported at the complex. Since Dosker Manor is close to the interstate, to hospitals and other housing, crews can't simply use explosives to bring it down. They will need to incorporate cranes and wrecking balls, too. One new building called the Miller will be part of the new campus, but it's built on the First Link property across the street from Dosker. Director Elizabeth Strojan talked to us about how they will prevent the new buildings from experiencing the same problems found at Dosker Manor.
Is one, investing in good physical infrastructure, so things that are going to be easier to maintain, easier to be kept in good condition. Secondly, the financing has to be secure. Public housing, which is what Dosker Manor was, has been defunded since the 1990s. We've seen a steady decline in funding that makes it really hard to keep the buildings up. And third, we want to make sure that our properties have supports on site for people.
350 families will live in the new complex that will be called May Street Kid Village Family Housing. It's an homage to May Street Kid, an advocate for civil rights in Kentucky who helped create the Kentucky Housing Corporation.